So I want to officially welcome everyone to my second Beautiful Money web class of the year. I'm really excited and really grateful to have all of you. We had an amazing and full web class on New Year's Day, and we talked a lot about this was really our kickoff, our Beautiful Money kickoff webinar. And I'm really excited to be able to offer these throughout the year. They will all be free, obviously, but I wanted really to have my own vehicle this year to be able to educate and share and mentor as many people as possible globally who were interested in learning how to create holistic wealth. So we'll talk a little bit about what that means. Those of you who this is your second web class, we're going to touch upon 10 secrets to making beautiful money tonight. So we're going to talk about what are 10 really simple but powerful strategies so that we can create wealth that is really in alignment with what makes us happy and what makes us feel completely authentic. And we're going to talk about those strategies tonight. So I'm really, really excited. I will make sure my webcam is turned on before we move forward. Just so I wish I could see all of you. Hi, everybody. So again, what we're going to talk about tonight are really 10 very simple strategies that the goal tonight is really so that you can create a lot of love and a lot of leverage and a lot of beautiful money in your wallet and in your bank account. So I wanted to put together 10 strategies that I thought would be simple, would be very easy for you to implement. And I know you're tuning in from all over the world, so welcome all of you. I recognize many names on the webinar. I'm so thrilled to have you guys. I will take extra good care of you over the next 40 minutes or so. And again, if you have any friends or colleagues who couldn't log in tonight, I will make sure the recording is live by tomorrow morning. So let's talk about what our objectives are. Why have you come to this webinar? Hopefully, the reason is because you want to create wealth for yourself. You want to create legacy, but also you want to do it in a way that's really aligned with your core values, aligned with who you are, what you love, and you want to do it in a way that lifts you up. I like to talk about it that when you're creating beautiful money, you actually radiate incredible life force. When you're chasing money, you have this heaviness about you, this struggling energy. It weighs you down and it ages you at a faster rate. So my personal philosophy behind beautiful money is how can I be my lightest, healthiest, clearest self and create wealth that is completely aligned with who I am and what my core values are. So that's what tonight's webinar is all about. I wish I could go through 100 tonight. But I want to make sure that I'm mindful of your time. So we're going to take about 40 minutes to go through these 10 strategies, and then we'll have more webinars in the spring and in the upcoming months to help educate you more and more. So if you are enjoying what you're hearing tonight and what you've heard after the webinar's over, I've had the pleasure of interviewing some of my favorite experts over the last couple of months, and my podcast, Beautiful Money Podcast, is going to be launching at the end of February, probably end of February, March 1st. So look out for that on iTunes. And if you have any experts that you would love to see interviewed, please don't hesitate to let me know. I love interviewing people who are in the wellness space, in the wealth space, but are really just aligned with the message of beautiful money. So we covered this in our New Year's Day webinar, but what is beautiful money? So again, you may have wealth in your life. You may have a partner who has wealth in their life. But the whole premise behind how can we teach other people, if you're in a place where you're already wealthy and happy and aligned and you own your time and you sleep wealthy, I have an actual a course coming up called Sleep Wealthy. So if you sleep wealthy and in alignment and amazing and you feel completely aligned, then that's great. But how can you teach other people to do the same thing? So beautiful money is really living each day on purpose, authentic, heart-based and heart-centered, powerfully, mindfully, consciously, also in a place where you actually feel lifted up and light. There isn't a heaviness of exhaustion at the end of the day, like I have to go make more money. I have to always trade my time for dollars. I can't I can't get ahead. So it's that feeling of being clean and clear where you can become a money magnet. And I love to use the message of true wealth is an inside job. So if we are looking to design our lives around a beautiful money lifestyle, we want to start from the inside first. So where do some subtle tweaks need to go or be, or where do we have to do some subtle tweaks in order to align ourselves with abundance and prosperity? So we're going to talk about some starting points tonight, but you'll know in your gut if your life and your vehicle for creating income or wealth in your life is aligned with beautiful money, because you will feel a yes or no answer. So you can easily ask yourself, do I have a beautiful money lifestyle? And if you take a moment to be silent, you will hear that answer. So my intention for all of you is that every day can get a little clearer, a little lighter, and a little more prosperous. So that's what we're going to start tonight. So stop chasing money and start creating wealth is really what beautiful money is designed around. We want to educate the world to create aligned, holistic wealth so that we don't have to burn out to create wealth. And we can if you're parents, you can teach your children how to create wealth in an aligned way, how to be more generous as you create wealth, more mindful, more giving, and just become, as more wealth is created, there's a bigger sense of responsibility for how we treat people, how kind we are to others, how we lift people up in our lives, and never have that energy of in any way energetically being toxic to somebody else through language, through gossip, through talking, negatively about people. We have that extra sense of responsibility when we are committed to creating a beautiful money life. So for those of you that I don't know, if I haven't introduced myself already, my name is Leanne Jacobs. I am the creator of Beautiful Money. It has been a work in progress for many years. It kind of started about 10 years ago, and little by little, I've really perfected and worked on the Beautiful Money brand. And with that, the actual official book, Beautiful Money, is coming out January 3rd of next year. But this year is really about teaching as many people as possible the principles behind beautiful money. So you are part of something that is really meaningful to me and that has been in the works for a long time. So I have an equal passion for entrepreneurship, for mentorship, and wellness. And so I am a yoga and Pilates instructor, a clinical nutritionist. I have my Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Toxicology, and I also pursued an MBA. I'm also the mom of 4. I have a stepdaughter as well as 3 young boys, a 3-year-old, a 1.5-year-old, and a 7-month-old. And I'm a total free spirit. So whenever I created wealth in my former life, in my 20s, I always felt exhausted. I always felt like I was chasing money. I didn't feel like I was contributing. I felt like my life force was getting sucked out of me. And so I knew there was something not right. There was something misaligned with what my true nature was and what my true self wanted. And I am a free spirit at heart. So if I am physically having to show up somewhere or trade my time for dollars or have an exhausting schedule, it's not worth it to me. So for me to create wealth, it must be aligned with what's most important to me, my family, my health, my friends, and freedom. So that's how Beautiful Money started. It was around me really having adrenal fatigue and feeling something just isn't right. I don't have, I've created a great income in corporate, but it's burning me out. And I'm completely lacking joy in my life. So there's got to be a better way. So number 1 principle for tonight, for 10 secrets to kickstart your beautiful money journey, is to be clean and clear. So whatever that is for you, we'll talk a little bit about the importance of writing this down. But if you have clutter in your life and you have invited a lot of things that aren't aligned with who you are into your life, maybe your schedule is insane. Maybe you have some relationships in your life that are toxic. Maybe you have disorder around you, wherever it is. I like to remind people that disorder in the physical world is sort of the last step. Disorder in the mind and in the body is step 1. That happens first. By the time it gets to your external environment, like a little bit of chaos, that's the last place it ends up. That's the manifestation of internal chaos. So where there's some disorder in your life, you cannot undervalue the importance of cleaning this up. Because even if it's a tiny little space, I'm going through this right now because my home's for sale. So every single tiny crevice in my home has to be clean. And having 4 kids, that's really difficult to do. But my husband and I, we have a little bit of a crazy deadline, but we've made a commitment that we need to have a completely clean energy in our environment to make room for aligned holistic wealth. So you might choose to select an area that's very simple for you to clean. Like your wardrobe, your garage, your basement. We all have boxes that, are dust bunny boxes that have accumulated dust. You never need the boxes, but you hang on to them. So just be mindful that anything physical in your space that you are not in love and obsessed with consumes life force from you. And so that is actually taking space of prosperity and abundant energy that could be entering your life. So what I'd like to encourage you to do tonight is make a commitment to yourself to be as clean and clear as you choose to be. Now, we can't always, sometimes I do have sense of urgency around this, and I would love to be like completely clean and clear and have no clutter in my life, no clutter in my body, no clutter in my mind. But being a mom, that can't happen 24/7. So what I like to do is on an ongoing basis, on a daily basis, I try to do something small that can clean a little bit of space. I will make sure that health is a priority for me. So if you are a wellness junkie like I am, having a smoothie or green juice, it's an area where on a daily basis you can kind of energetically cleanse the body. Tons of water. So if there's something you can do before you go to bed tonight that can help you to put this principle into practice and say to the universe, hello, I'm totally ready for beautiful money and I am committed to being clean and clear. Well, you could load up on water, even while you're watching this webinar, and make a commitment on paper to what's one area in my life that is probably taking a little bit of my life force, and in result of that is preventing some extra prosperity to enter into my world. So this is my favorite tip of the 10, and often this is the strategy that most people undervalue. But let me tell you, the more clean and clear your mind, emotions, your body, and your physical space is, the more room for beautiful, aligned prosperity. Yes, there are lots of people that can create wealth without this, but I'm talking about true, sustainable, authentic prosperity that is aligned with who you are, so that as your wealth grows, you will actually soar in terms of radiance. So again, think of something small. If you are a bit of a junkie or you're advanced as a practitioner when it comes to cleansing and clarity, you might choose to, go a little insane. But you don't have to. You can start really small. Pick an area in your life that's causing you a little bit of tension in your body, or an area in your life physically that maybe your car's a disaster, or one small area. It's energetically universally saying, I'm cleansing this because I am absolutely making room for more prosperity in my life. So principle number 2 is sleep wealthy. Now, the reason that this is so important is because in today's marketplace, in today's global world, there is no reason for burnout. There is absolutely no reason why people should not be creating wealth while they're sleeping. There are so many ways to do this. You can talk to people you know and admire who seem to have lifestyles that are amazing, and they can talk to you about some suggestions. But to name a few, maybe you're interested in real estate, maybe you're interested in investments, maybe you have some amazing online businesses going, maybe you're in the direct selling industry. There are so many ways to create money while you're sleeping in an aligned way. What I would suggest for you is to schedule a call or a coffee with somebody you admire that has an amazing lifestyle and is aligned as a person. So doesn't just have money, but then the rest of their life is a disaster. You really want to interview somebody who is aligned. How they do one thing is how they do everything. So it doesn't mean they're perfect, but they have alignment and their core values are clear. They're not hot messes. Interview somebody like that and ask them, you know what are some ways that I can learn how to make money as I sleep? Because if you currently, this is how I lived for 10 years. I only made money when I was physically showing up at my job. That is a burnout model. So if you love your job, that is wonderful. But learn how and find out some opportunities, and we'll talk about this more on future webinars, of how you can layer on more income streams while you're sleeping. And if you already have an income stream that pays you while you're sleeping, or you're making money while you're sleeping through your investments or your properties or your businesses online, that is amazing. But what I want to challenge you with is, why aren't you making more? Answer this, because you can be making more than you do right now. There is something holding you back or something you're not letting go of that is preventing you from moving to the next level. So what I'd like you to do is write that down on a piece of paper. What is it? Maybe you want to ask some people, some of your peers around you, do you know if there might be something that is a blind spot for me that if I let go of or move to the next, graduate to the next level, I might not notice? And be open and coachable and open to feedback, because there are opportunities to create incredible wealth while you're sleeping so that you can have aligned health and you can have an amazing lifestyle. You can have a spacious calendar. You can spend time with your loved ones. My husband and my one child and I spent, an hour and a half in the middle of the afternoon today just hanging out. And while we were doing that, we set up our lifestyle so that we're generating revenue while we're hanging out with our little guy. So it's about planning. It's about being strategic. It's about having a vision, and it's about doing things before you need them. One of the things that I feel more people should do better is be proactive. Most people wait until there's an emergency or a crisis before they realize, oh my gosh, I need to learn how to generate income while I sleep so that I don't burn out. But if you pre-planned and got informed and learned to be strategic and looked at trends, it is so easy to earn income while you sleep. But you might just not be surrounded by mentors who know about it. So sometimes, and that's something I did, I interviewed people who were where I wanted to be, like 5-10 levels past where I wanted to be, because I wanted to be on the fast track. I wanted to learn what they knew so that I didn't have to take 40 years to figure out how to do this. So sleeping wealthy is secret number 2. Secret number 3 is automating wealth. So again, automation is really one of the biggest secrets to wealth in general, but especially to beautiful money. Anything you do multiple times over and over repetitively that you haven't automated is a bit of a hemorrhage of life force. So this is one of the areas that I constantly have to focus on, because I can easily fall back in my old habits of being a bit of an energy bunny and doing instead of automating. So this is an area for me that is really close to my heart, because I have to keep my eye on this one all the time. I'm always asking myself, how can I automate more? So there are some easy ways to do this. Like, for example, if you have a business, an online business or your own business, if you're constantly sending out a similar email more than twice, you want to kind of make a script for it. Have a script folder in your email. It doesn't have to be robotic, but it can be a starting point. So let's say you have to send a similar email to 10 people in a week. Instead of re-emailing it, and some people don't think about this, but I know so many people who do this, they'll physically type this email and create it 10 times a week, instead of creating a little bit of a script, putting it in a folder, and then what they can do then is just resend it and just pretty it up a little bit or personalize it. Another thing I do is I have become really good at scanning through my inbox, picking the maybe 5 emails in a day that require immediate attention. And then what I do is I filter those as urgent to go to the top of my inbox. And those are the ones that I focus on for the day. So this has sort of had to happen with having kids. But what I'll do is I'll very quickly scan emails 2 to 3 times a day. And I scan for the ones that require urgent attention. I move those up to the top, and that's my priority for the day. So that's my automation. So it sounds very simple, but it is usually the little things in life that chaos up our world and that prevent us from creating wealth, because all the little things suck all of our time. And it's easy to look back at, look back at your last 2 weeks. Has 80% of your time been on the right things? Or have little tiny things cluttered up your space and your day? Before you know it, the day goes by and you're like, what did I actually do? I dealt with a few crises. I checked my phone. I checked my text a million times. I went on Instagram. I went on Facebook, but I really did nothing to move my life forward. So, what I'd love us all to commit to is make sure that during our day, the majority of our time is moving our life forward or doing things that are totally aligned with who we are, instead of dealing with all the little trivial things that keep us small. Our goal is to live as big as possible, whether that's in our community, in our family, in the world, however big and expanded. But really, our souls are meant to expand constantly. So if we're getting bogged down with trivial things that we could easily automate, it is holding us back from creating beautiful money. So think of a few things in your life that you could easily automate. A couple examples are every couple weeks I have a cleaning team that comes. Automation. So yes, I will, especially now that my house is going up for sale this week, I do have to clean a little bit in between, but I have that automated. My wealth accounts, I have that automated. My savings, I have that automated. My different ways to create investments, automated. I don't have to think about it. And the reason I like that is because if it was left up to me manually doing things, I wouldn't create wealth. How do I know this? Because I did it in my 20s. It didn't work. And so think about little things you can automate in your life, because it's the little things over time that create wealth. It's not overnight, I have to do one huge thing and that's going to create my wealth. No, no, no. It's the tiny little things that are the right things to do tonight. So, I mean, very simply, we talked about this on the last webinar, but make sure you have a will, make sure you have a power of attorney, make sure you automate your savings. Even if it's $25 a week, move something directly into automated savings so that you don't even have to think about it. That will grow over time and that will create incredible momentum. One other thing I would suggest is talk to somebody really successful that you admire and ask them if there are 3 tips for how things that they automate in their life that has helped them to generate success or wealth. So you might want to ask a money expert, and you might want to ask somebody that you admire for business. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, it can be any business, but ask them for what their 3 tips are. One of the things that I've loved is I always will ask experts, what is a beautiful money philosophy that has really guided you well through your life? And I love hearing the answers. They're so similar and they're so simple. It's not something complicated. I mean, if you look at all the books on wealth, we sort of have read all of the tips to get wealthy, but it's a matter of we need to be a little bit disciplined. We need to implement these. We need to automate and systemize more, and we have to be a little more accountable to ourselves. When we get so busy with trivial things, days go by and we're like, oh, we haven't automated anything. And so think about how you can automate more so that you can actually be alive and not spend your time on trivial things. Number 4 is an area that is the most important, and this is to write down your dates. Now we're going to talk about, one second, as my slides don't seem to be changing, but we'll move this again. Number 4, if we can't go back, is to write down key dates. So what I'd like you to do is to think about what can we do to have some dates that are really, really amazing. So 3 that I like to do is I like to have a debt-free date for when my debt is going to be gone. I like to have a mortgage-free date where my mortgage will be gone. And then a financial freedom date would be second. So that would be the date where the income you have coming in is covering your lifestyle. So whether you're working or not, you have enough income to live. And then the third would be a mortgage-free date. So those are 3 dates that I have written down. And don't think that keeping them in your head is going to do that. tonight, what I would highly recommend you do is write these down on paper. So number one, and for some, there we go, we're back on track. So your dates, the first one would be your debt-free date. So that would be sort of the bad debt-free. So what is the date where you're going to have your credit card gone, your line of credit gone? This is like consumer debt or stuff debt where you don't even know where the debt came from. However, it's just not debt that isn't moving you forward. So if you have properties or assets, or some business debt to grow your business, I wouldn't include that. But debt that is like junk debt of just stuff you bought or you don't even know where the debt came from. So have a date where that debt is going to be gone, and then write it in your day planner or on your electronic day planner. So that is date one, is the bad debt free date. Number two is your financial free date. If you don't write this down, it will never happen. So when I was 28, I had a day job. I had no idea how I was going to become financially free, but I wrote a date down by 33. Actually wrote by 33. And then I gave myself a bit of wiggle room to 35. But I wanted to be financially free on my birthday. I didn't know how this was going to happen, but I had read so many times, especially in the book Think and Grow Rich, that the most important thing you can do is to write the dates down and then to find a vehicle that is based on truth for you. What does that mean? Well, if you try to chase money in ways that isn't aligned with your core values, it will fall apart at some point. It must be based on truth and based on and in alignment with your core values to be sustainable. So I wrote down these dates. The third date would be, for me, was a mortgage-free date. So those are 3 dates for me that were very powerful and set me on I felt like I was organized and I had a plan. And then I didn't worry too much about how it was going to happen because I was really sending out to the universe, these are the dates that are most important to me. And then after that's done, you get a little bit of divine assistance to find the right vehicles. And then you go with your gut to choose which ones are best for you. Write these down. These are the most important steps tonight. Number 5 is to respect cents and dollars. So again, we talked about this a little bit on New Year's Day, but here's some simple things you can do. Really, the way you handle each penny that comes into your world is the universe is watching. So if you crumple up your bills in your wallet, if your wallet's completely a disaster, if your wallet's old and decrepit and the zipper's broken, what do you think that tells the universe of how well you respect money? If you don't check bank statements, you don't know what's coming in or out, you have no idea what comes out when, you don't know where that $100 went, then remember the universe is always watching you. So it can't reward you if it doesn't see that you're respecting what you currently have. So one tip is every penny that comes into your life, every check that you get in the mail, every check that goes into your bank account, take a minute to express some gratitude and to share how grateful you are. And the other thing you can do is be organized. So have a box that's really nice and organized where I file all of my receipts. I file all of my statements. I pay a little bit of money to get my banking statements in the mail. The reason I do this is because it's part of my discipline. It forces me to sit down every week and go through my statements so that I know what came in, what came out, where am I maybe spending a little too much money, and it reminds me of what's coming out automatically. So if you're an entrepreneur and you have an online business, one thing you might want to do a little cleanup is check to see all of the things that come out automatically monthly. For example, I've noticed, webinar, everything now is a monthly billing for online companies. So you have your webinar platform, you might have a database platform, you might have a something that manages your emails. There could be up to 15 to 20 things that you pay for on a monthly basis. You might not even use all of them anymore. So just make sure that you take a minute to go through all the things you're paying for monthly when it comes to online tools, because it can clog up your money. So you just want to make sure that you need them all, you use them all, and that and you just kind of do an update every quarter to make sure that's all up to date. And then, I said this before, make sure you have an amazing new wallet that's saying universe, like I am totally respecting any bill or dollar or cent that comes into this wallet. Go through your statements, make it a new practice to be completely organized and to completely grateful, even if you're in a place of debt or you might not be at the level you want to be financially. It doesn't mean that you should neglect number five. A lot of times people say, well, I'll start doing that when I have money. Well, that unfortunately, that's not how things work. It's actually more important to do it when we're in a deficit to turn it around. So when we're in a time that crunches us or is challenging or is what we might deem as negative, those are our teaching times. And those are the times when it's more important to have leadership and show the universe leadership so that we can be rewarded with more abundance. So think of some areas in your own life where you can show the world that you respect money more. Have your bills nice and clean in your wallet. And I know a lot of people that were in the serving industry say this, that they're so used to, and my friend also said this, that they're so used to putting bills in their wallet nice and organized and clean after their shift. So it's kind of a cool little habit to get into, to say, universe, like I'm respecting every dollar I earn and I'm getting ready and creating space to make so much more. Number six is to review your statement. So this is really important. And because everything's online, a lot of people have lost or forget to do this on a regular basis. So at the end of the year, they're crunching to go through everything. But if you make a habit and put it in your calendar to spend, for me on Fridays, I spend a little bit of time going through my statements. It might not be in great detail, but I will go through my statements, highlight what I need to highlight, make some notes so that I'm organized and ready for my accounting team. And that I also know mindfully, okay, there's some areas that I don't know that I need to be spending this on this anymore, or I need to keep my eye on this area of my money. So it helps me to be organized, but also understand where my priorities should lie. And that has been a really powerful tool for me. So again, I'm very mindful of the environment, but when it comes to creating beautiful money, I personally choose to get my bank statement still in the mail. If you do it online, that's amazing too. But as long as you have a system that works really well for you, that's fantastic. Number seven is needs versus wants. So, there's a section in Beautiful Money in the book that talks a lot about this and some exercises for you. But one of the things that we can do is just be mindful of what maybe we don't need anymore in our lives, that don't bring us joy anymore. So there are things that I still love, absolutely. I still love Dior. I will always say yes to go into a Dior store. There are things that I love. I love nice things, but I don't really need them. For me, it's wonderful and it brings me joy to do it occasionally, but I'm very clear on what my needs are and what my wants are. And that's, for me, that's important. So for example, if you sort of evaluate, and this is something that once you've finished, when you're going through your statements, you can actually go through your statement one week and just write down if it's a need or a want. What you want to do is just identify, oh my gosh, like my spending for the past month has been on mostly wants, and really I didn't need most of this. No wonder thousands of dollars, just evaporated from my bank account because my spending is mainly on wants. So it's practicing a bit of discipline and knowledge around being clear on what's a need and what's a want for you. So for me, healthy food and well-being are needs. For some people, for me, it's absolute priority. If it comes down to cash flow in a month, I will keep healthy food and wellness as an absolute priority, and I might let something else go. Like I might go to the restaurant less, because for me, it's a core value. So if I don't make it a priority, I don't feel right inside. So we want to just make sure that we go through our statements and just recognize, are there some things that really I didn't need that are nice to have, but I really could have saved another $1,000 last month if I would have been a little more mindful and if I would have gone through my statements. So this is a really powerful exercise. Number 8 is eliminate bad debt. Now we talked about writing this down in our calendar. Think of it energetically. If we think about how to manifest more beautiful money, means we have to be in feelings that are aligned with joy, love, abundance, right? So if we have bad debt, what do you think it does to our emotional state? So sometimes people might forget that energetically, bad debt takes up a lot of space in your body. You may not think of it every second of the day, but it does take up energy space. So, what the goal of Beautiful Money is to create a lifestyle where you are vibrating at your highest level of love and abundance and the most amazing feelings possible. And so, one simple thing we can do is make a commitment to get rid of bad debt. Now, sometimes people will ask me, well, does student debt count? Well, student debt is, I would kind of consider an asset if it helped you get the career of, an amazing career, or if you're going to med school. Student debt isn't necessarily bad debt. It is an asset to your future. But if you have racked up a credit card because you love to shop too much, or you have an obsession with buying furniture, then that's bad debt. And the debt associated with it energetically it takes up space in your body. So if you want to feel this light, amazing feeling of health and abundance, then eliminating bad debt is a very, very top priority. So we want to make sure that that date is written down. And we have done this in one of the past exercises and strategies. But again, I gave it its own because it in terms of health and holistic wealth, it must be a priority. Create more value. So this is a really great way to attract more beautiful money into your life. If you're in a space where you'd love to manifest another $1,000 a month, yes, it's important to evaluate what are some ways to do this. But if you question it more and say, okay, well, what do I love doing? What's a core value? How can I create more value around it? And then I can easily get some help from people who are really great at marketing or branding or business. They can easily help me to monetize this or to put my services out there. But how can you create more value, or how can you help more people? So if you are a coach or a personal trainer and you're helping one person an hour, well, consider maybe doing some workshops or some webinars like this. This is a great way, or write an ebook. There's so many ways to create more value where more people can actually find you. And this is one of the brilliant things about the internet, is that there is an unlimited amount, like Pinterest alone. You can connect with so many people. Even if you have a one-on-one business model, that's wonderful, but there's so many ways to create more value and help more people through the internet. See if you can speak at an event that's coming to your city. Host some kind of a meetup. There's so many ways that you can create more value, and then see what happens to your wallet from doing that. Number 10 is to systemize your wealth. Now, this is the big one. This one will probably be a talk on its own. But when you talk to people who have created beautiful money in their lives, they have amazing wealth. They systemize everything from how they make their money to how they do things. And it's not that they're robotic, but they're very strategic about how they create their wealth. So as an example, any company who has franchised, well, systems make you money. Systems, I would say, there are many strategies and simple principles that will help you create money. But if you're looking to create great wealth, a system is absolutely a priority. So at the end of the day, what I would love to think about as the ideal is that you are actually your own bank. So imagine that you are in this situation where people are coming to you for mortgages. People are coming to you for startup funds. People are coming to you for bank loans. Let's say this is the ultimate, that you are your own bank. You never need assistance. You don't need loans. This is the ideal. So and this is the philosophy that I love to use. The volume is low. Can everybody hear me okay as we finish up? I just want to make sure before I keep going that the sound, okay, great. Thanks everybody. Just wanted to make sure. So let's think of this as our ideal. Let's say the ideal is I am my own financial institution. I don't need any kind of financial assistance. I don't need bank loans. I am fully sustainable. I don't need mortgages. So this is my ultimate, is that you are your own bank. Now, then there is where we are today. And what we need to do is fill in the gaps. You might not have a desire to be your own bank, but I know for me and my husband, this is our ultimate. So how can we do something that brings us a little closer to being our own amazing institution of wealth, where we don't need any type of assistance? Everything is covered by our family empire. And so we want to look at these strategies to get us started. And then we complement that with managing money well, which will be its own topic. We'll definitely have a webinar on money management. But how can we systemize a little bit more? So that means how you earn money. To look at how can we systemize it. So anybody who has a franchise, they're creating wealth through a system that is proven already to work. So when you look at people who have created great wealth, you will see in their life and how they've created that, their system is what has created them wealth. This is the secret. This is really the big secret to creating beautiful money and to working towards being your own bank. So if you look in your own life, this might be an area for you where, so what does that mean? Being a system. I have no idea. I have a corporate job, or I go to work every day and I get paid hourly. But if you think about how could I systemize something? So for example, I know a trainer who, yoga studios are awesome at this as an example. So they earn their income. If they're a great yoga studio, they earn their income definitely by members, but where they earn most of their income is through their teacher trainings. So what they've done is they've systemized their knowledge, they've packaged it, and then they're able to offer teacher trainings on weekends. And some studios charge up to $20,000 per student to get trained, depending on where in the world and how prestigious and who it's trained with. So think about the knowledge you have. How can you package it and systemize it? Or how can you tack onto somebody else's system and learn how they have generated wealth through a system that is proven to work? So if this is totally foreign to you and you're really not too sure what I'm talking about, what I want to leave you with is just keep this in mind and think about, as you know, the weeks and months go on, that I'd like to learn a little bit more about systems that create wealth. And you'll find that, more things start entering your space and more opportunities where you can learn a little bit more about systems. So all I want to leave you with for number 10 for today is that this is actually just a way where you can work towards being your own bank. And what we'll do on future web classes is we'll talk a little bit more in detail on some of these strategies from tonight, and we'll dig a little deeper into how to get down to the nitty-gritty, and then what are some daily practices that we can do. So I hope you found tonight valuable, and I have wrapped up on time. I want to thank you, all of you, for your time this evening, and I want to wish you an amazing evening. I hope you sleep wealthy and sleep healthy, and I will see you on our next Beautiful Money web class. Have a great night, everyone.